Hi everyone, welcome to one of my videos where I use exposure and response prevention therapy to help treat my choking phobia. So today I'll be eating some Tim Hortons, which is a chain of restaurants here in Canada that serve basically like Starbucks type food, bagels, muffins, chocolate donut, and stuff like that. So today I'm going to have just a cheese croissant. So the basic video today is going to be actually a bit different today. You know how I usually make my videos that rate my anxiety, I do the exposure, and I rate anxiety afterwards, and then talk about the thoughts I want to talk about? I'm going to change it today. Today I'm going to rate my anxiety, do the exposure, and then write my anxiety afterwards. And then afterwards, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the interwebs, excuse me, I'll get my pencil to write my thoughts down, and I'm going to actually give you, I'm going to go on the interweb back, and I'm going to actually talk about exactly what it is that exposure and response prevention therapy is, and what is cognitive behavioral therapy, and what are like thought records. I may not be able to get through all of that today. It really depends on how the video goes. So, as you know, I try to get my videos around 50 minutes, and so let's see how far we get. So first, of course, we need to rate the anxiety. Another word I use to rate, is calibrate. Like to calibrate, first thing in the morning, how bad am I gonna feel about choking on food, right? And once you get that number, you attack it, you face it, you let the anxiety stay with you, and you let the number go down. And what I've been noticing recently is a plateauing of about 10 to 15 out of 100. And so nowadays, what's happening is this is more like a daily check-in with me, rather than a more intense exposure. It's more of a check-in where I got my tablet here for things. It's more of a check-in to kind of, you could say, be like, all right, this is how anxious I'm going to feel about this. And we'll talk about other things related to that as well. So first, my anxiety of choking on, my choking anxiety. It's called, choking phobia. On a scale of 1 to 100, I'm going to give it maybe a... Okay, see, you gotta differentiate between anxiety. I feel anxious about certain things, like I feel sad and depressed about certain things today. That's not the same as having anxiety of a phobia, or of having a phobia. A phobia is like, it's not necessarily real, but it feels real. It's a specific sort of anxiety. A phobia is a specific type of anxiety, and mine is choking phobia. So I guess the question remains, how much can you differentiate between, for example, my social anxiety and my choking phobia, right? Or other sorts of anxiety other people may have, and their choking phobia, which is what they're trying to work through for watching this video. Either that, or they're interested in psychology. Either that, or they just randomly thought, hey, click on this video. Either way, welcome. So my anxiety level before. I wrote best, I meant to write before. Okay, out of 1 to 100. 15, it sounds fair, out of 100. And then what we do is we do the exposure. This is the hardest part. We have to stay with the anxiety, stay with it, be as mindful as possible. It's the only way you actually get better. I used to get 70s and 80s out of anxiety. It's only from making these videos and doing it over and over again and understanding it's not really a thought that has any bearing in reality that you kind of get better. I'm just realizing now, I may have burnt my bagel. Let's just see how it tastes. This is live, right? There's no real prep work. Let's see what happens here.
otherwise they should be allowed to go on. Go ahead.
Hi. During your speech, you made a lot of references to Jewish people as well as certain people in your audience, not Jewish people in general, but certain people, especially in your audience, to Nazis. Now, that is extremely offensive when certain people are German, and they're also extremely offensive to people who have actually suffered under Nazi rule.
I don't respect that anymore. I really don't. I don't like and I don't respect the crocodile tears the crocodile tears. No. Allow me to finish. Allow me to finish. Listen, sir. Allow me to finish. Sir. I don't like to play before an audience the Holocaust card. But since now I feel compelled to. My late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother, please shut up. My late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother was in Maidanek concentration camp. Every single member of my family on my father's side, Jewish people take arms against you. My father was in Auschwitz concentration camp. My late mother was in Maidanek concentration camp. Every single member of my family on both sides was exterminated. Both of my parents were on the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. And it's precisely and exactly because of the lessons my parents taught me and my two siblings that I will not be silent when Israel commits its crimes against the Palestinians. And I consider nothing more despicable than to use their suffering and their martyrdom to try to justify the torture, the brutalization, the demolition of homes that Israel daily commits against the Palestinians. So I refuse any longer to be intimidated or browbeaten by the tears. If you had any heart in you, you would be crying to the Palestinians, not to what's inside. I've never been in a crowd like this. They're nuts. I think it's pretty audacious.
Why does the United States support Israel? Well, there's a history, and a very interesting one. It actually goes back a long time. One thing to remember is that Christian Zionism is a very powerful force, which goes back long before Jewish Zionism. In England, particularly, Christian Zionism was a powerful force among British elites. It's part of the motivation for the Balfour Declaration and for Britain's support for Jewish colonization of Israel. Remember, the Bible said, and that's a big part of British elite culture. Same in the United States. Woodrow Wilson was a devout Christian who read the Bible every day. So did Harry Truman. In the Roosevelt administration, one of the leading officials, Harold Ickes, once described the return of the Jews to Palestine as the greatest event in history. It's realizing the lesson of the Bible. These are deeply religious countries in which the biblical commands, so-called, are taken quite literally. Also, this is just part of colonization. This is the last phase of European colonization. And notice that the countries that are most strongly in support of Israel are not just the United States. It's the United States, Australia, and Canada, the offshoots of England, Anglosphere sometimes called, unusual forms of imperialism. These are settler colonial societies, societies in which not like India, not like the British in India, say, societies, South Africa was a little like this, or Algeria under the French, settler colonial societies in which the settlers came in, essentially eliminated the native population, also driven by religious principles, very religious groups driven by Christian Zionism. Those are major cultural factors. There are also significant geostrategic factors. You go back to 1948, there was actually a split between the State Department and the Pentagon in the United States over how to react to the new state of Israel. And the State Department was questioned. It was not committed strongly to Israeli conquests, the establishment of the state, and was concerned about the refugees. They wanted an implementation of the refugee problem. The Pentagon, on the other hand, was very impressed with Israel's military potential. The Israeli military successes, if you look back at the internal record and declassified, the Joint Chiefs of Staff described Israel as the second largest military force in the region after Turkey and a potential base for U.S. power in the region. That continued. Can't run through the whole record, but in 1958, when there was a serious crisis in the region, Israel was the only state that strongly cooperated with Britain and the United States, and it won plenty of support.
But I ask you, so you make the point that's 10 years ago, and I appreciate that, but it's only recently you said of Israel, it's a crazy country, it's like a junkie. Every few years they go to war, they need their fix, they're lunatics. American Jews don't want to defend that.
Yeah, Israel is carrying on in a lunatic fashion. I would like to ask you...
And Hezbollah, who you went to meet?
I would like to ask you, name me another country in the world. 2003, Israel was the cheerleaders for the war in Iraq. 2006, it went into war in Lebanon. 2008, 2009, it attacked Gaza. Now it talks about attacking Iran. If you read the Israeli papers every day, they talk about, should we attack Gaza? Should we attack Lebanon? Should we attack Syria? Name me another country in the world that falls into that category.
Well,
that's a lunatic state.
Israel would point to a number of its neighbors and say exactly the same thing.
Did you show me how many countries has Iran planted?
Don't worry, guys. I did not spit this out because of a fear of choking and my choking phobia. Actually, more because unfortunately I burned the bagel. I burnt the bagel. That's just what happened, and unfortunately now it tastes like a burnt bagel. And burnt bagels don't taste good. So without further ado, what I'm just gonna simply do is have an extra croissant. I'll go in the microwave, probably have another one, and I try to find some more food if I can, but I don't want to carry this on too much. This is for me mostly. I'm not doing this because I'm fearing choking. I'm doing it just because it doesn't taste good. You've seen this before. You guys have seen this before. Sometimes the food I eat doesn't taste good. OCPD is kind of like autism, so you have that sensory thing. I know some people would be like, oh, it's a bit burnt, it's okay, right? But it wasn't just the burnt. It was the cold cream cheese on the warm bread. And once the bread becomes like lukewarm, it's all like cold on something. And it's just, I don't know, it's messing with my autism. Whatever, I have OCPD. I don't have autism, I have autistic traits, but definitely have a weird relationship with food. Let's just move on from that. I'm trying to stay as mindful as I can. Finish this part of the video so we can get into the talking part of the video where I can talk about things I'm writing down here. Let's begin again.
No, let's ask a simple question. How many countries in the last 10 years has Iran attacked?
When you look...
No, that's a fair question. How many countries in the last 10 years has Iran attacked?
the history of Israel, do you not have some sympathy or understanding, people would ask, as to why they feel threatened and why
we're not
they
talking about why
consider...
they feel threatened. We're talking about a country that every 2 or 3 years goes to war. And if you follow the press as I do, every day they talk about let's attack this country, let's attack that country. That's not normal.
So,
and when I hold a lunatic
why is
state,
it that the Israeli people vote in this government that you say is responsible for that?
I think it's a regrettable fact. I don't say these things with glee. I'm not happy about that fact.
As the American economist and Nobel laureate Paul Krugman put it in the New York Times last week, he said it's perfectly obvious Israel's headed towards national suicide. It's become a crazy state. And he says it's not good for Jews, it's not good for the world where Israel is headed.
And yet it's still seen, of course, as the safe haven, the homeland for the Jews. You have a right to live there, although you're banned. Would you
I
go
think that's
back?
a contradiction in terms, but we'll leave that aside.
Spørgsmålet om fredsprocessen kaster stærke følelser af sig. En af de stemmer, som i de seneste par år har markeret sig skarpest i kritikken af Israel, er den internationalt kendte amerikanske politolog og forfatter Norman Finkelstein. Han er søn af 2 polske jøder, der overlevede nazisternes udryddelseslejre, men Norman Finkelstein selv mener, at Israel og flere amerikanske jødiske organisationer misbruger holocaust i politisk øje med, og han betegner Israel som en sløvelstat. Sidste år blev den kontroversielle amerikaner forbudt indrejse i Israel i 10 år, under henvisning til, at han sympatiserer med Hizbollah-bevægelsen i Libanon. Tidligere på dagen havde vi besøg.
The chair would now like to address Mr. Blitzer. This question is interesting. I'll have to edit it a little bit. You implied that Israel has the right to exist because of what happened to the Jews during World War II. Why in Palestine? Don't the Palestinians too have the right to a secure homeland? Why do they have to suffer and make way for the Jews?
Look, we can go back and we can argue over the birth of Israel, justice of the birth of Israel. We can argue over whether or not there should be an Israel. There is an Israel today. There's a strong Israel today, a vibrant Israel that is not going to disappear. Palestinians have missed opportunities. There is an opportunity today. I don't see any useful purpose in arguing over what justifications Israel has to exist. Israel has all of the justifications in the world to exist. And I don't even think it's appropriate to question the reason why Israel exists. Thank God that there is at least one Israel. An Israel where Jews can live if they want to. They don't have to live there. But if they need refuge, if they want to live in a country that is a Jewish homeland, that's fine. And I think, as I said before, all of us should be delighted that we happen to be around at a time in this world when there is this Israel. Zionism is an ideology. It's the national liberation movement of the Jewish people. To deny Zionism, to reject Zionism, is about as racist an element as you can get. Why should all of these people, Palestinians and others, deserve a homeland if the Jews can't have a homeland? Have not the Jews suffered enough all of these years to have a homeland? Have not the Jews developed an identity, a culture, a religion? Sure, the Jews deserve a homeland. And there's an opportunity now to resolve all of these problems. It's not going to be easy. There's no quick fix solution. But it has to involve compromise, recognition of mutual rights. But certainly, given the history of what's going on over there, anybody who ignores the security problems facing Israel.
So I'm just gonna go warm up my other croissant. I'll be back in about 20 seconds. Listen to Wolf Blitzer talk about Zionism.
Certainly the Israelis aren't, whether they're Likud or Labor or whatever. Certainly anyone who does ignore those very, very real security problems in the Middle East, a dangerous neighborhood, they're going to be doomed to destruction. And I don't think that the Jews, at this particular point in our history, are prepared to accept that. I wonder if I can comment on that.
No, I'm afraid you can't comment on that. I've got a question for...
Let me just add one point.
I'll give you a chance in a minute, Mr. Finkelstein. I'm going to give you a question to work from, because I want to make sure as many people in the audience feel honored as we can possibly manage. This writer says, the Intifada is not an isolated problem. This problem is affected by 4 wars, terrorism, and the Holocaust. Why is it not relevant, in your opinion, for Israel to be secure?
Well, that nicely brings me back to the former question. I'll answer and I'll answer both at the same time. I suppose it wasn't missed on anyone in the audience that Mr. Blitzer was deploying that same familiar lawyer's tactic.
The question that was put to him was, if we accept the legitimacy of the state of Israel, why don't we also accept the legitimacy of a Palestinian state? And then Mr. Blitzer went on to tell us all the good reasons why we should accept the legitimacy of the state of Israel, something which, by the way, I concur with. But that still doesn't answer the question. If one does accept the legitimacy of the state of Israel, why doesn't one also accord the same rights to self-determination and statehood to the Palestinians? That was the question, as I understand it, that was put to him. Now, the issue of security was raised, and somebody made it, I think, in inaccurate inference that I'm not concerned with the security of the state of Israel. I am. I'm also concerned about the security of a Palestinian state. Again, we have to apply the same standards across the board. Israel is ranked as the 4th leading military power in the world. Does it have real security claims against the Palestinians? Let me quote to you former Foreign Minister of Israel, Abba Eban. He said, Israel has as much to fear from a Palestinian state as the Soviet Union does from Luxembourg. How many people here feel the Soviet Union has a real threat from Luxembourg? Furthermore, if we apply the logic of Abba Eban, the Soviet Union had more rights to occupy Afghanistan than Israel does to occupy the West Bank and Gaza, because certainly Afghanistan poses a greater security threat to the Soviet Union than Luxembourg. How many people here support the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan? Now let's look at what Amos Oz says in his most recent book, The Slopes of Lebanon. He asks to me, even though I am no great admirer of Amos Oz, he asks to me a reasonable question. What does Israel, the 4th-ranking military power in the world, have to fear from a state that would be 1/5 the size of Albania and 1/2 the population of Kuwait?
So that's the, I finished the exposure, meal, whatever you want to call it. And my anxiety went down from 15 to 5. It's very important when you do this, when you're eating, to remember, one, anything that makes you comfortable, try not to do it, unless you've kind of seen your anxiety go down on a regular basis, and you've been doing this for about 2 months straight, and you feel that your anxiety is plateauing, and you know, if you're gonna do this, it's gonna make your anxiety a bit worse. Having said that, when we're talking about 2025, we're basically talking about the difference, I would say, between like a couple slices of cheese or not, or a couple bites of, you know, chicken fingers or not. It's just important. In the long run, though, sometimes you just gotta relax and loosen up and enjoy the meal. And it's always about psychology. Second thing I want to talk about is the videos I was playing. They were basically just because you guys don't want to hear me just looking at my, watch me eating. So I thought, put some stuff on YouTube. People like to listen to. It was basically with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I'm totally obsessed about that. I might make videos about that. I don't think at the moment. But moving on from there, let's talk about the thoughts and images that I was having. Now, one of the things I want to discuss here is that it's actually basically the only thing I want to discuss. What I'm going to do is write these, just basically say these thoughts as quickly as possible and discuss what I want to discuss. Number one, it's not burnt, referring to the bagel, happy, comfort. Can you put happiness in a bottle? He's going to say it, crocodile tears. MIA Israeli supporters opposite. Do Muslims recruit their members to be liberal? Why are most Muslims liberal? Image, here's an image. Me getting stitched up and thinking about Noam Chomsky to deal with the pain. Buy stuff. I forgot. I'm channeling. I wrote, that's an OCPD thought. God. Using his name in vain. Gosh. Because they're under attack. Image. Someone choking. I'm smart. I'm incredibly smart. I'm bad. evil. I don't talk about my feelings. I understand weird is desire or feeling. That's basically what I was writing while I was eating. I think that's a good primer for what we're talking about, basically, which is I want to talk about this idea that, for example, is there a limit for like someone for like me? Let's talk about me, because this is all about me, right? This video is about me. Psychology, right? For example, praying for a psychologist, praying would be considered magical thinking. Magical thinking is like a thinking error, right? Where you think just somehow things are just going to work out because, you know, you did something, but it didn't affect the outcome. For example, if you are driving on the road and you run out of gas. And say you're on a road trip and you thought there was a gas station, but you got there, the gas station was closed. Next gas station is 20 miles away. You only have 10 kilometers of gas. You get there and you basically have to push it the rest of the way. Logical thinking would be to just, right, when the car runs out of gas, just kind of like pull over and then basically be like, oh God, please give me gas, right? A psychologist would call that magical thinking. It may be considered a rational response for some people. I know many good people, I would think, I don't know, but I'm familiar, I've heard and read about many good people who that they would do that. They would say, okay, oh God, or oh Allah, or oh Christ, help me with this problem. Help me with this, with getting gas in my car, basically, right? Maybe not in those words, but there would be something like that. Non-magical thinking, the psychologist would be like, okay, I'm running out of gas, the gas station, I'm out of gas. I better get out and go get the gas and come back, right? There is no hesitation to this being God, but not. Something I wanted to talk about first, because it bleeds into this thing I'm getting where it's like, psychology is good because it helps you face your fear, no doubt about it. I've also heard though psychology makes it so that you learn, you kind of like, you're not your true self, you're your psychological self. And there's nothing wrong with analyzing yourself and even over-analyzing yourself, becoming a better person, right? Being better, not being anxious, right? Being good, not having any problems. There's nothing wrong with that. My problem would be, like, I tend to do too much of one thing, and then I don't do much of the other. For example, I would do too much of psychology and not too much of religion. Or I would do too much of religion and not psychology. Or I would do too much of a certain thing, and I wouldn't be able to balance. And I know that's what I have to do. I'm realizing that now, that I had an inkling back in my mind, this is what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to basically deal with my anxiety and everything else I have to do with my life, like my religion and all those things. I'm realizing now, though, that, at that time I said that's too hard. 8-10 years later, I'm realizing the problem's still there. It's not going to change. And this is what kind of causes me consternation. Like, how can it take 8-10 years for it to actually click in me that you need to kind of walk and chew gum at the same time? You need to deal with your psychological problems and any other goals or aspirations you want. In my case, being a better Muslim and feeling happy about myself and working as full-time as I can. So it really makes you think, like, what is psychology? Is psychology even good? I've rejected a lot of psychology. For example, psychology, says, I'll give you a very simple example. We have probably all know this example. I'm bisexual. Psychology says there's nothing wrong with being bisexual. Psychology says that a person's sexual orientation the person has no for example, a person's sexual orientation is determined at birth, and a person has no sort of choice at birth to choose one or the other. It's not like when you're coming out of your mother's, right? To use a crude term, whatever, I'm not going to use that term, but when you're coming out of your mother, it's not like the nurse gives you a survey and says, do you choose to be gay or straight? And you just quickly, cry on the nearest box, or they give you a pen and whatever happens, wherever the pen is closer to the paper, they say, okay, you're gay or you're straight. No, this is determined genetically, on a genetic level. And so it's science. This is what according to the American Psychiatric Association. Okay? The American Psychiatric Association confirms there is that sexual orientation is something that the person who has it, they had no choice in it. Same with straight people. Straight people had no choice in being straight. I don't blame them for being straight, and why would I? It's horrible to be discriminated against for being this way. I'm moving from what I was trying to say. What I'm basically trying to say is Islam, or traditional values, or even traditional Christianity, all the traditional values and traditional people would say homosexuality is an illness, it's a struggle, it's because of your environment, it's because of like all the toxins and all the media and the freedoms, and we've lost our culture, we've lost our way, and we're basically just acting out, or too much Fortnite, you know what I mean? Like, you hear crazy ideas about why people are gay, especially in Muslim communities. They have the jinn in them, they have the devil in them. I used to think those things too, to a certain extent. And so you see this huge, right? So how do you resolve that is the question that I always have over and over again. It's a question that really bothers me. It's a question I don't really have an answer to. What I'm realizing, though, is that the more questions you don't have an answer to, the closer you are to the truth. It really makes sense. Because when you have answers to questions, you're not really... emails. When you have answers to questions, you're not looking for the truth. When you have the answer to a question, you're not looking for the truth. It's only when you have a whole bunch of questions with no answers, right, that you're looking for the truth. You're looking for the answers. You're looking for the answer. And so it really messes me up. I sometimes think these thoughts, like, why did God make me this way? It would have been much easier. I've come to this realization. It would have been much easier if I was straight. I would have fit right in with my social group. I would have fit right in with, I would have probably went to school, maybe had a girlfriend, like some rocker chick, would have no idea what it means to be gay, in terms of like, wouldn't be that way. Maybe one of my friends would have been gay, I'm not there, instead of me being the gay friend, they would have been the gay friend, you know what I mean? And this whole heteronormative discourse around it, like the gay friend, bothers me too. Like, why do we have to put gay people in like a separate category? Even like in our ghettos, we have a ghetto here in Toronto, Canada. For all those people who don't know what a map is, or a globe, Toronto, it's in Canada, eastern part. We have a ghetto for the gay people. Like, it's a self-imposed ghetto. They don't want to be, they want this area. It's kind of like to feel safe. It's our area. We have a community center there. We bring people there and everything. And I love it. It's great. The problem is, like, we shouldn't have a ghetto. And people ask, well, why? One of my friends who is Muslim asked me, why, when should we end gay rights? When do you think gay rights, like, first it was like a discussion about why should we support gay people? Why should we support gay rights? And basically, to end the logical conclusion, when should gay rights end? A definition of gay rights. And I said, we should end gay rights when there is no need for them anymore, when gay rights end. You know what I mean? Like, we should end gay rights when gay rights end. And it was basically that simple. Like, when the society doesn't really have a need for gay rights anymore, we'll end it. And until then, the struggle seems to be, almost eternal and continual, because it's related to human rights struggles and gender expression, gender identity, and even psychological damage could be, for many people who are in denial. For example, I was in denial for maybe about, I want to say 8 months, where I swear on the Quran, I thought I could literally become straight. I could ignore being gay. I could literally just think that that's a satanic influence. The devil is whispering in me, oh, he's cute, he's good looking, and I would dismiss it and just pray and just, stay from the devil, just like the devil is stopping you from praying or reading the Quran or being nice to your parents. You know what I mean? It wasn't until I realized that, you know, I don't mean to be rude. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to move outside because I'd like to have a cigarette, enjoy my Coke, and we'll talk about the rest of this. So just give me a couple minutes and then we'll continue the chat, guys. Oh, you know what's even a better idea? I think I've done this long enough and I don't want to make my video too long today. I'm just gonna end it. I wanted to talk about something, and it may come to me tomorrow, it may not. I know it's always going to be on the bubble, these ideas, so I'm not going to write it down. I'm going to leave you with this, end it with this, but definitely be a video tomorrow because it's Friday, but there won't be a video Saturday. So remember, guys, stay with it.